When the landing gear slams onto the runway at Suvarnabhumi airport at 2 a.m., you are not just carrying 30 kilograms of checked luggage, you are carrying a massive load of expectations. Let us be honest with each other. You are not here just because you love Pad Thai or the Golden Temples. You are here to execute a grand escape. Maybe you are John, a 32-year-old office worker from London, who is too tired of the eternal grey sky and the crowded subway that smells like mold every morning. Or maybe you are Sarah from New York, who is exhausted from paying $3,000 a month for a tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn without even a washing machine. You see photos on Instagram of digital nomads sitting by the pool with a MacBook in hand, drinking coconut water and working. You tell yourself, that is the life I deserve. The first week in Bangkok feels like a powerful dose of dopamine injected straight into the brain. You meet a female real estate agent named Ploy. She picks you up in a cool air-conditioned car and takes you to view homes in Onnat or Bang Na, names that sound strange. But she assures you it is only 15 minutes from the center. The car stops in front of a 40-story skyscraper with tempered glass reflecting the harsh tropical sun. You step into the lobby and are overwhelmed. The ceiling is 6 meters high. Crystal chandeliers hang down, and security guards bow to you as if you are a diplomat. She takes you up to the 35th floor. The door opens, and the cold air from the air conditioner hits your face, chasing away the 38-degree heat outside. You see shiny marble floors, an open kitchen with a modern induction stove, and most importantly, a floor-to-ceiling glass wall looking out at the panoramic Bangkok skyline shimmering at night. But the knockout blow lies on the rooftop. The agent takes you up there and points to the 50-meter infinity pool, with blue water spilling over the edge of the building, merging with the sky. She says, the rent for this unit is 20,000 baht a month. Your Western brain starts running a comparison algorithm immediately. 20,000 baht is about $600. $600 in London is only enough to rent a parking space. $600 in New York is only enough for electricity and internet bills. But here, $600 buys you a palace, an Olympic standard gym, an infinity pool, a sauna, and 24/7 security. You feel a jolt of electricity run down your spine, the feeling of victory, the feeling that you have just hacked the global financial system. You think to yourself, I am smarter than all my friends. Stuck back home, I can live like a king on a beggar's budget. You turn to the agent and say, I will take this unit. I want to sign the contract right now. You put your pen to the 12-month contract with a satisfied smile. You transfer the 2-month deposit without hesitation. You think you have just found the safest sanctuary in the world, but you do not know that the moment the ink is not yet dry, you have just officially stepped one foot into the most common and brutal trap for expats in Thailand. You bought the flashy shell, but you forgot to check the operating core. You believed Google Maps when it said that from here to the center is only a 15-minute drive. But Google Maps is a great liar in Bangkok because it calculates distance based on physics, while Bangkok operates based on chaos. You think you rented this house to enjoy life, but in reality, you just signed up for a daily war. A war that wears down the body and spirit, which will take at least a month after the honeymoon ends for you to start feeling the bone deep pain of it. Let us fast forward to the 3rd week. The excitement of moving has faded like old pain now. You face the naked reality of a typical Tuesday morning. The alarm rings at 6:30 and you open your eyes, and the first thing you see is not the magnificent city view, but the exhaustion weighing down on your eyelids. You walk out to the living room. The infinity pool is still there, glistening under the seductive tropical sun like a jade gem. But you realize a bitter truth. You do not have time to touch it. You have to rush to brush your teeth, wash your face, and get dressed, because Your office is in Asoke or Silom, the financial center of Bangkok, and according to Google Maps, you are living 8 SkyTrain stations away. You step out of the building lobby, the air conditioner breathes cool air. One last time before the automatic glass door closes behind you, and immediately, the humid heat of Thailand slaps you in the face. It is only 7:15 am, but the temperature is already 32 degrees Celsius. The walking path from home to the station, which the agent said was only a 5-minute walk, is actually 800 meters long with no roof, and the sidewalk is uneven. By the time you walk to the foot of the station stairs, your crisp office shirt has started sticking to your back. Sweat beads on your forehead and your carefully applied makeup starts showing signs of melting. And then, you meet the final boss of this game, the BTS SkyTrain system during rush hour. Imagine you are standing on the platform at On Nat or Phra Khanong. You see the train approaching packed with people. Emotionless faces pressed against the glass doors. The doors open, but no one steps out and no one can step in. You stand there helpless watching the doors close and the train rolls away, carrying your hope of getting to work on time. You have to wait until the third train to be able to squeeze one foot into the carriage. You are pressed tight between strangers, so tight that you can smell the perfume, the shampoo, and even the sweat of the person standing next to you. You cannot move your arms. You cannot take out your phone to kill time. You just stand there like a statue, holding your breath and waiting. This is the moment the illusion of upper-class life shatters completely. You realize that the luxury condo with the gym and pool suddenly becomes meaningless when you are stuck here. It is no longer a home. It is like a luxury locker where you store your clothes and your sleep. You start doing a cold calculation, not about money, but about time. 1 hour to go from your door to the office door, another hour to return in the afternoon, a total of 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day times 5 working days is 10 hours a week, times 4 weeks is 40 hours a month. Let us stop and think deeply about this number, 40 hours. 40 hours is the duration of a standard full-time work week. This means every month, you are voluntarily donating a full week of your life, throwing it out the train window just to move. You came to Thailand to seek freedom, to escape the rat race in the West, but you have, unknowingly, built yourself a golden cage. The bars of this cage are not made of steel. They are made of geographical distance, and the lock holding you prisoner is the 12-month lease you signed in a hurry because you thought you caught a bargain. You look at the people around you on the train. They are all looking down at their phones or closing their eyes, napping, and you see your own future in them, a tired, repetitive future, completely devoid of life. Let us put aside the tired emotions on the train for a moment to talk about a more rational issue, money, because after all, finance is the first and biggest reason you accepted signing this lease. Far from the center, take out your bank statement and let us do a practical accounting problem on paper. You are a financial management genius. You rent an apartment in Bang Na for 15,000 baht, while your colleagues are paying 25,000 baht for a similar apartment in Asoke. Every month, you save 10,000 baht a year. You save 120,000 baht. This number is enough for you to buy a nice motorbike or enjoy a luxury trip to Europe. But that is the calculation of a tourist who only sees the numbers. Floating on the surface for a true resident of Bangkok, there is a huge hidden cost that I call the inflation of exhaustion. This inflation does not appear on the rent bill. It appears in your small daily decisions when your willpower has been worn down by traffic. Let us consider the food category. When you return home at 8 p.m., after 2 hours of struggling on the road, your body sends out an SOS signal. You do not have a single bit of energy left to stop by the supermarket to buy fresh vegetables, let alone stand in the kitchen to cook a healthy meal. So you lie on the sofa and open the GrabFood or Foodpanda app, your finger scrolling through fast food items full of grease. A delivered meal costs you 250 baht plus delivery fees, while if you cook yourself, it would only cost 100 baht, you tell yourself, just for today. But that today repeats 5 times a week. Your food costs increase 3 times, not because you are a gourmet, but because you are too tired to save. Next is the extra transportation cost. Because you live far away, every morning is a race against time. If you sleep in just 15 minutes because you stayed up late last night, you will miss the early train. To make up for that time, you cannot walk to the station. You are forced to hail a motorbike taxi, 40 baht for the trip there, 40 baht for the trip back. That is 80 baht a day a month, is 2,400 baht. This amount is nearly equal to the electricity bill for the whole month. And on days when it rains heavily, when the Sky train system is overloaded, you desperately book a taxi to get home. The fare multiplies 3 times during rush hour, but you still press the book button unconsciously because you just want to escape that flooded road as soon as possible. When you add up all these small expenses, eating out, motorbike taxis, laundry service, because you are too lazy to do laundry, the 10,000 baht you thought you saved has completely evaporated, but money can still be earned. Back there is another much scarier number that you are wasting. That is opportunity cost. Remember, the number 40 hours you sacrifice for commuting every month. 40 hours is a huge asset. In those 40 hours, you could have completed an online coding course to increase your income. You could have gone to the gym 20 times a month to get your dream body, instead of watching your belly get bigger due to fast food and sitting too much, or simply, those 40 hours are time you could spend calling home to your parents, connecting with old friends, or reading books that are gathering dust on the shelf. You chose a distant house to protect your wallet, but in reality, you are paying with a currency that is thousands of times more expensive, the time to develop yourself and your own health. You are selling your youth cheap for the price of 10,000 baht a month, and that is the heaviest losing deal you have ever made. Let us forget the numbers in the bank account for a moment, because there is another more brutal cost that no one warns you about when you set foot in Suvarnabhumi airport. That is the price of loneliness. You are an expat. You came here alone. No family, no relatives. Your biggest need after 8 hours of stressful work is connection. You crave a community. You need friends to share culture shock with, to explore hidden bars in Chinatown together, or simply to drink a cold beer after work to blow off steam. But let us see how this scenario plays out on a typical Friday night in Bangkok. Your colleagues invite the whole group for a drink in Tong, Lo, or Sathorn, the trendiest area of the city where nightlife begins to rise. It is 6 p.m. and the Bangkok sky starts turning gray, signaling a tropical storm is about to hit you. Open your phone and check the map from your office to your home. Takes 1.5 hours. If you go for a drink with everyone and then go home from the bar, that distance could eat up 2 hours or more. You open the ride, hailing up, and see the fare has surged 3 times because of rain and traffic. The number appearing on the screen is 500 baht. For a trip home, you stand at the intersection, feeling a fierce struggle in your mind. On one side is the desire to have fun, to connect. On the other side is the exhaustion of your body and the obsession with the long distance. And then you make the decision that 90% of people living far from the center, how make forget it, too expensive and too tiring maybe. Next time, you wave goodbye to your colleagues and trudge towards the SkyTrain station alone. But that next time never comes. You choose to go home. You order food via an app and sit watching Netflix alone in your luxury condo of 45 square meters. Gradually, the invitations stop coming. Friends stop calling you because they know your answer is always a familiar script: too far. I am too lazy to go. The apartment with the beautiful view that you were proud of on the first day now turns into a deserted island You are completely isolated, right in the middle of a city of 10 million people. You saved on rent. Yes, but you lost the opportunity to build a social network in a city like Bangkok. Your net worth depends on your network, and you just cut off that network with geographical distance. But loneliness is not the worst thing. The real enemy silently killing your soul is energy depletion, or what scientists call the zombie effect. When you have to fight 2 hours a day on the road, your brain constantly has to process thousands of signals, car horns, train announcements, crowding, keeping balance, while the train moves. It is an invisible biological war. When you get home, your energy battery has turned bright red. You have no strength left to learn Thai as originally planned. You have no strength left to put on shoes and go for a run. You do not even have the strength to decide what to eat for a healthy dinner. So you choose a fast food item, full of grease again. After 6 months living this routine, you look in the mirror on a Sunday morning, and what do you see? You see weight gain, gray lifeless skin, dark circles under your eyes, and most importantly, the curious eager eyes, full of fire from the first day you set foot in Thailand, have disappeared completely. You have become a true corporate zombie. Go to work in the morning, go home at night, sleep in on weekends to recover strength for the next week. You are existing in Bangkok, not living in Bangkok, and that is the most expensive price you have to pay for your wrong choice. Things continue in a monotonous, tired rhythm until the fated moment arrives. The moment I call a breaking point. Usually it happens in September or October when the rainy season in Bangkok reaches its peak of brutality. Imagine this scenario. You have just finished a terrible workday. At 7 p.m., you step out of the office building and the sky is pitch black. Thunder rumbles, signaling a massive tropical storm is crashing down, and then the rain starts falling. Not the romantic raindrops like in Korean movies, but a thick curtain of water pouring down torrentially as if to drown the whole city. You run down to the subway station to avoid the rain, but when you reach the final station at On Nat or Bang Na and step onto the ground, you realize a disaster. The drainage system is overloaded. The road leading to your luxury apartment has turned into a river of black sewage water, rising to your ankles or even your knees, carrying trash, and a strong foul smell rising up you. Stand there in your expensive leather shoes and perfectly ironed office clothes, watching the filthy water flow past your feet. You pull out your phone with a fragile hope of calling a ride-hailing car. You open Grab, you open Bolt, you open InDriver. All apps show the same notification, no driver available, or the fare has increased to insane levels. 600 baht, 700 baht for a short distance. You desperately wave at traditional taxis passing by. 5, 10, 20 taxis pass you or they stop. Roll down the window, hear you say the location, then shake their heads vigorously and speed off, because no one wants to drive into a flooded area in the suburbs. At this moment, you are standing, alone in the pouring rain, soaked, hungry, exhausted, and angry. You look into the distance, where the lights of your condo tower are twinkling, but it seems miles away, a distance impossible to cross with bare feet. And precisely in that moment, something inside you shatters. You start questioning your existence here. What the hell am I doing in this country? Why did I leave my comfortable home in London or Melbourne to come here, wade through sewage and endure this torture? The illusion of a cheap paradise life has completely collapsed, replaced by the feeling of being deceived, trapped, and betrayed by your own choice. This is the breaking point many expats give up. Right, on this fateful rainy night, they go back to the apartment, pack their bags, accept losing the deposit, break the contract, and buy a one-way ticket home the very next week. They leave with a heart full of hatred. They go on social media forums and write long posts warning everyone not to come to Bangkok. They say this city is a mess, traffic pollution, and scams, but they were wrong. Bangkok is not at fault. Bangkok has always been like that. noisy, chaotic, but also full of vitality. The fault lies not with the city. The fault lies in you, trying to impose Western thinking on a Southeast Asian city. You played by the wrong rules of Bangkok, and the price you pay for this introductory lesson is the mental collapse on that rainy night. But if you survive that fateful rainy night and decide not to give up, you will step into a new chapter of awakening. The next morning, you wake up with a completely different mindset. You realize that you were wrong from the very first step. You start observing more closely the expats who are truly happy here, the ones who have stuck it out in Bangkok for over 5 years or 10 years. You realize a strange commonality. They do not live in flashy glass skyscrapers in the suburbs of Onnat or Bang. Nah, they live in older, lower, rise apartment buildings, deep in the alleys of Asoke, Phrom Phong, or Ari. They teach you an expensive lesson in Bangkok. Do not choose a house with your eyes. Choose a house with the SkyTrain. Map the golden rule of a wise Bangkok resident is your house must be on the straight line leading to your company. Absolutely no train transfers allowed. You start to understand the concept of buying back time. You start doing a new calculation. It is better to spend an extra 3,000 baht or 4,000 baht a month to rent a room 10 square meters smaller. But you can't walk to work. It is better to live in an old building, built in the year 2000, where the elevator might be a bit slow, with no magical infinity pool. But in return, you have 2 extra hours a day for yourself. Those 2 hours are not for commuting, but for living, to go to the gym, to read books, to cook a good meal, or simply to sleep in a bit more in the morning. You realize true luxury in this city lies not in shiny marble tiles or fragrant air-conditioned lobbies. Luxury lies in stepping out of the office at 6 p.m. and being home at 6:15, showered and ready for a wonderful evening. While other colleagues are still stuck at the Siam interchange station, you understand that true comfort is not the pool you look at, but the free time you possess. That is, when you stop thinking like a naive tourist and start thinking like a wise local. You accept trading the flashy shell for the quality core. You accept an uglier house to have a more beautiful life. And as soon as you change this mindset, the map of Bangkok in your head also changes it. It's no longer a scary maze, but it becomes a chessboard where you know exactly the next move to win. So what does the new life look like when you decide to correct your mistake and take back control? Imagine on a beautiful Sunday, you decide to move house. You leave the magnificent skyscraper in the suburbs to move into an older 8-story apartment building deep in a quiet alley in Asoke or Phrom Phong. Your new room is 10 square meters smaller than the old one. The kitchen is not very modern. The floor is old wood instead of marble, and the pool is tiny. But let us see what miracle happens. On the first Monday morning, the alarm rings at 7:30 a.m. Instead of 6 a.m., you rub your eyes and realize you have just gained an extra hour and a half to sleep in, or to brew a cup of coffee and look at the lush green trees from the balcony. Instead of watching a jammed highway, you step out of the house. At 8:15, you walk under the trees in the small alley. You see street vendors grilling pork skewers with smoke rising. The smell of garlic and pepper wakes up your sense of smell. You hear birds singing instead of honking horns. 15 minutes later, you are at the office lobby. Dry, mentally refreshed, makeup still intact. You do not have to fight anyone. You do not have to squeeze and inhale anyone's sweat. In the afternoon, you leave work at 6 instead of rushing to the train station like a moth to a flame. You leisurely walk home. By 6:15, you are already at the gym or sitting at your favorite bar with friends holding a cold beer and watching the sunset. You suddenly realize you have just bought back 3 hours every day. 3 hours multiplied by 30 days is 90 hours a month. 90 hours is a huge treasure. It is enough for you to learn a new language, enough to start a side business, enough to date and find love, or simply enough to find yourself again. That is not just a change in accommodation, that is a change in status. You go from being a slave to the transportation system to becoming the master of your own time. Your friends start seeing you happy again. Your skin looks pinker, your smile is brighter. You start talking more about the hidden beauty of Bangkok. Instead of complaining about traffic and floods, you realize that the high-end condo in the suburbs was actually just a flashy golden trap for naive newcomers, while true freedom lies in the old alleys right in the city center, where you can walk everywhere. So what is the final advice for those who are packing their luggage, preparing to come to Thailand, or those who are stuck in exhaustion here? Let this sink deep into your bones. Bangkok is a city that never sleeps, but it is ready to swallow those who do not value their own time. When you look for a house, do not just look at the glistening photos on the website. Do not be blinded by the infinity pool or the luxury gym. Those things are just the makeup of a beautiful girl. Geographical location is her true personality, and you live with the personality, not with the makeup. Open the map, draw a straight line from your company, and look for a house on that very axis, or best of all, within a 2-kilometer radius where you can walk or take a motorbike taxi in 5 minutes. Do not be afraid to pay a few thousand baht more for rent. Consider it an insurance premium for your mental health. Money can be earned back, but time and the emotions of youth can never be. Bangkok is a wonderful place to live. If you know the rules, the rule here is very simple. Distance is not measured in kilometers. Distance is measured in patience. And quality of life is not measured in square meters of the apartment, but measured in the number of free hours you have each day. We came here to become happy expats, enjoying Thai smiles, amazing street food, and freedom, not to become zombies. Wandering on the sky train, choose the right order, choose the job first, choose the route, then choose the house. If you do this, Bangkok will no longer be a scary maze. It will become the most brilliant, most vibrant playground you have ever known. Welcome to the real Bangkok, where life begins when you step off the sky train and start walking. Live slow to go,